Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we are looking at Marvel Superhero Secret Wars #1, the facsimile edition. Just got this not too long ago. It is so cool. One of my favorite comics of all time. Cannot wait to share it with you. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Okay, you guys, I love these facsimile editions that Marvel and DC has been doing. Not only is it an opportunity to get some of my favorite old comic books, but it's an opportunity to experience some of the key issues and #1 issues that I'll never be able to afford, I never read, or I've never seen out in the wild. So, some people are trying to make the argument that facsimile editions bring down the value of the original editions, and I'm going to squash that right now. I think that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. So, because, Huckleberry Finn, it's like, are we going to stop printing that because to save the value of the first editions? I don't think so. When it comes to literature, and that includes comic books, you should make it as available as possible to as many people as possible, especially if it's good, and this is good. Plus, I love the facsimile editions. A lot of these books, when they were originally printed, were not up to the levels of the printing standards today, and so it's a good time to see these in the format that they originally intended and to get a great printing that they deserve. A lot of people want the, the newsprint as opposed to like the thicker stock. And I like the thicker stock. We already had the newsprint once, so let's give it up for these gorgeous editions. I'm an artist. If you watch my channel, you know I love art. So I think this is a great showcase for the art. Check out this beautiful cover by Mark Zeck. You know what I wanted to say, but Mike Zeck. It is so beautiful. It is so iconic. Totally stands the test of time. I'm assuming it's inked by John Beatty. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars. People dismiss this series as a commercial for the toy line from Kenner that accompanied this. And, arguably so, whatever, but I was the target audience at the time when it came out. I owned a lot of the toys. I was all for it. And rereading this for this review, I have to say it's so much better than I remember. The art is so good. It was being very much compared to Crisis on Infinite Earths at the time. I think this did beat them as far as publication, but Crisis was planned for a long time, well in advance. Marvel and DC were always in sort of competition with each other. But even though the timing was more to compare Crisis versus, Secret Wars, definitely Superpowers was the answer to, Secret Wars, because they had an accompanying toy line. And, that was like Kirby's big moment at DC. I'm kind of blew it. Like, I don't think he drew a lot of the superpowers as far as outside of covers and stuff like that, but that's an episode for another day. So Jim Shooter, writer, kind of divisive. I am a fan of Jim Shooter. He was the editor-in-chief at Marvel during its heyday, in my mind. During my introduction to Marvel, all my favorite books came out of his era there, so I'm all for it. Jim Shooter, writer, Michael Zeck, penciler, John Beatty, inker. Give it up for John Beatty as an inker. They make such a great team, so good together. Joe Rosen, letterer, Christy Shield, colorist, and Tom DeFalco, editor. So, you've got a lot of, heavy hitters in the name credit box here. I feel like I wasn't as in love with the art when it first came out, because I'm comparing it to George Perez on Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Perez was like my spirit animal. I love his art. He basically, I was a Perez clone. I wanted to draw just like him. I copied his art all the time for years, and I just love him so much. So this paled in comparison, but looking back at it retroactively, and don't get me wrong, I did love this at the time. The war begins. How epic is this 2-page splash, right? All the characters here, so great. All my favorites: Mohawk Storm, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, love her. Rogue, and let's just throw in Magneto here. Was Magneto with I feel like he was, but we'll see in a second. Galactus. Okay, so, you know, the villains are on one side, the heroes are on the other. And say what you want, Jim Shooter is editor-in-chief at the time. I'm sure he spearheaded this whole thing. He is writing it. And I feel like he's a good choice because I was thinking about it. And, like, a good editor-in-chief is like a good manager at a restaurant. They should be able to do every job in the house. So arguably, he should be able to write all the characters, you know, correctly, using their powers correctly, and in character. And I feel like he really pulled it off. You know, Jim Shooter had certain mandates to the writers as far as, you know, being aware that this is somebody's first comic book and always taking the time to introduce the characters and let the reader know what's going on and make it not confusing. I love this picture of Magneto here, the very menacing, right? So cool. A lot of iconic shots in here throughout. I mean, a lot of it's kind of fluff too, but you know, you get like the banter between the villains and the heroes, and the villains and the villains, you know, fighting amongst themselves is always a good time. Absorbing Man, such an interesting character. Like, he looks so weird. Like, I love the era of superheroes where some of the characters just like look like, I don't know, out of shape middle-aged men or something crazy like that. Galactus seems super weird amongst these villains too. You know, he's giant, so I love that we see his feet a lot in some of the panels. Like, I don't know, that was just kind of cracking me up in a way. Where's Silver Surfer? I wonder where he was at this point. Like, oh my god, how did they not have Silver Surfer be part of this? You know, it's hard to remember exactly what was going on in Marvel history at the time. You know, it's like we have Mohawk Storm, but she still has her powers. Galactus is like, let it be done. I don't have time for you fools. I'm Galactus. Kirby dots, gotta love that. The Fantastic Four and their dark blue and white costumes. I love that change. That was like an addition of John Byrne. Speaking of John Byrne, I wanted to point out, I love the corner box art over here. Some of my favorite depictions of some of these characters. Paul Smith's Wolverine and Storm. I think John Byrne pretty much did the rest of them. She-Hulk looks absolutely beautiful in that picture. I've always loved that. Also, I found it a very strange coloring choice to, like, sort of do the top blue and the bottom white, like, to have this sort of weird division for no reason. Like, I feel like it should have been all white or all one other color, but it kind of works, you know what I mean? It stays in your memory at the same time. So, I'm just nitpicking. Very clean and polished, a lot of this art is. You know, I'm thinking of, like, because I love Mike Zeck's work on Kraven's Last Hunt, with J.M. DeMatteis and Bob McLeod or McLeod, forgive me, and very kind of different, but you know, you can see the structure, and I think that both teams work very well together, so I'm very happy about that. Wolverine once again looks great here. You know, Mike Zeck is definitely, like, I feel like he's known for, like, his Punisher covers and, like, his, you know, Kraven and his, you know, he's definitely, like, a rough and tumble kind of artist, and I think he handles those characters very well. So it's no surprise that he would draw a great Wolverine. I love this too. Like, and everyone seems so petty. This is like from the era when villains and heroes were like just so petty. Like a lot of in-team competition, in-team fighting. It's funny to see Magneto laid out like that, or Galactus laid out like that. Lots of fun zips too. I love that with John Beatty's inking. Another great screen zip over here. The Wrecking Crew, I don't know, they look so funny. I love Dr. Octopus's, like, Mo Howard haircut. Like, you know, like, how menacing is that? I don't know. This is so funny. This is, like, kind of ironic, right? Like, Jim Shooter, I guess he must be at Disney or something, and Mickey Mouse is there with his eyes blacked out. Is that to, like, protect the copyright or something? I don't know, but ironic that Disney would wind up inevitably buying Marvel. Like, they buy up everything. I don't know. This is just, like, such a good, fun memory for me. And I have to say, like, I was totally engaged. Like, I'm totally here with it. Like, I think it's unique and fun and original and kind of just like a popcorn movie, a summer blockbuster. So it definitely serves that. Another great facsimile edition from Marvel. Keep them coming, in my opinion. I love them, especially Secret Wars. It's so great. Do the whole darn series while you're at it. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button, and I'll bring you more later.